Hey everyone, welcome back to Ragtag Stacking. In today's video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the price of silver. Now we know for the longest time, if you've been stacking for any amount of time, or if you've been watching some stacking channels, you know that for the longest time there have been people saying that the price of silver has been artificially manipulated, and they've been trying to keep it artificially low. So that has always been something that has been talked about. But it's just been recently with the Wall Street silver stuff and the silver squeeze, and people talking about silver going to 100 or trying to pump up silver to the moon, things like that. You're seeing a lot more people looking at the price of silver and saying, it's kind of undervalued compared to where gold is, and they can see the potential in it and the potential growth, and trying to get into it now. And it makes sense. That's why I'm stacking, because I do feel that it's a pretty good price to get in at. I've been stacking a lot of silver because it is more affordable than gold. I'm trying to pick up as much gold as I can as well. But for right now, with my budget, picking up silver is working, and at this price point, I'm still a buyer, even with these premiums. That's why when I see people say, "Oh, silver's going up to 100 or silver to the moon," I'm not against that or anything like that. But for me, I'm still accumulating. I still want to buy silver, and I still want to get it at a relatively good price. So I don't want to see, primarily the premiums still keep going up, but I don't want to see silver go to 100 overnight. You know what I mean? Spot price. That would definitely put a halt to a lot of my purchasing. Or the way I stack, at least. So for me, obviously down the road, and maybe in a decade, I'd like to see silver up at that $100 mark. But for now, I'm fine with the prices the way they are right now. And unfortunately, that might mean that it is being manipulated. That the prices that they are now aren't where they should be if they weren't being artificially held down. Obviously, that's not a good thing. But I guess call me selfish or whatever. But I'm kind of taking advantage of that right now, of these lower prices. And then we got the new wave of people that are interested in silver and realizing the potential with the price there from the Wall Street and Reddit crowd. I came across this article, and I wouldn't say that I disagree, completely with anything that is in this article, but it's kind of coming at it through from a different angle, and he's suggesting or asking, is silver cheap, and also, as you can tell when you see the title, if it matters. So yeah, like I said, I thought it was a pretty interesting article, and what I'm going to do now is just going to jump onto the computer and quickly show it to you. All right, so this is the article here, and it's on FX Empire, and it says, "Are silver prices really cheap, and does it matter?" And it says, "Proponents of silver and their expectations for a much higher price have talked for years about the reasons silver is undervalued." Their words, not mine. So going down here, as you can see just from the the opening statement there, he's not exactly on board with what they're saying. So this is the thing that I found is pretty interesting here with the silver prices, with the 100-year historical chart. So right around here would be the 1980s, and this is I believe the 2011, I believe it was, and they're showing these two bars here. They're going down to explain. This is the two parallel lines identify a price zone of silver between $20 and $40. The total time that silver prices were actually within that range or higher amounts to less than 5 years. So this is the historical chart of over 100 years, and the price range that we're in right now, we've only seen those prices for around 5 years out of 100 years. So looking at this historically, it isn't exactly the cheapest prices that we've seen. And they also have a chart down here that adjusts for inflation going down here. So we will see that obviously in the 80s, when you're looking at inflation, it is much higher of a price. But they also have those lines again here between 40 and 20. And obviously, when you factor in inflation, you're going to be looking at more than 5 years in between these lines here. But you still can look. It is that 100-year chart here, and you can see in between those two lines, it still is not that big of amount of time. You know what I mean? Because yeah, that's what it says down here. It says in the chart above, the same parallel lines of $20 and $40 are shown. On an inflation-adjusted basis, most of the price of history of silver is still under $20 an ounce. So I did skip over quite a bit. I don't want to read the entire article. I will leave a link in the description if you want to read the whole thing. But one thing that I found here, obviously this guy isn't a silver pumper by any means, but he gives an example here of silver, what not to expect. And it says, don't expect silver to outperform gold. I actually just did a video talking about, it was a short sample size. It was only a year, but they're showing how silver was outperforming gold. I'm not saying that's going to continue or that's going to be a trend going forward, but they were just showing a really, really small sample size of silver outperforming gold. But it says here, gold is real money and its higher price reflects the actual loss in purchasing power of the US dollar. As long as the dollar continues to lose purchasing power, the price of gold will continue to move higher relative to silver. As I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not, a financial expert or anything like that. I'm just going off of my silver stacking experience, and I've been stacking regularly and heavily for just over a year now with the channel and everything. So from my experience, this is not exact. This is not at all what's been going on. Silver has been blowing past gold, but like I said, mine is a very, very small sample size, and historically, it's not my experience. Your mileage may vary. A collapse in stock prices more likely would usher in hard times economically, maybe recession or depression. Silver is primarily an industrial commodity, so it is very price sensitive to economic slowdowns. When stocks fell on the onset of inspired closures and shutdowns last year, the price of silver fell by a larger percentage before moving higher along with most everything else. And number 3, don't expect silver to rise above 30 ounces and stay there. That would be a refutation of everything we know about silver historically. Don't expect a special circumstance or event to void any of the above. Unfortunately, the only thing that would have it over that is that inflation mark. If inflation is pushing the dollar higher, then that $30 goalpost would have to be moved, but that's just further showing the loss of buying power from inflation and further supporting the idea of getting the silver in your hands to hedge against that inflation that you're clearly seeing or trying to fight against. So yeah, this is different than the pumpers saying that it's going up to 100 overnight. This guy's not saying it will never, saying don't expect silver to rise over $30 an ounce. He's not saying that it's never going to happen. He's just saying he's not going to bet the farm on it. So it's a lot. What he is saying is a lot different than what the pumpers are saying, or some of the bad pumpers out there that just sell everything and get into silver as quick as you can because you don't want to miss the rocket, stuff like that. That's obviously not good. But so yeah, this isn't just like reverse pumping or anything like that. He's not saying that it will never happen. He's just saying that historically it hasn't, and not to expect it from what he's seen historically. And then you get a little thing down here about what you should do, and it says, well, what you do depends on the reasons why you own silver. Going down here, you will see some of the stuff. It says, if you own silver and expect large-scale fantasy price increases, reread the article, it makes sense. If you got in early and the latest upswing in silver showing some nice profits, take the profits. If you own some silver coins against the possibility of a collapse in the US dollar, keep them and go about your business. If you have larger amounts of wealth you want to protect, consider gold. It is a much better choice. Denser at least, you know what I mean? Especially with stacking, you can see that gold obviously takes up a lot less space, so it is a more efficient way of storing your wealth. But yeah, I kind of went on a little bit long here. I didn't read through the entire article. Like I said, I'll leave the link in the description there. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting article. And what I'm going to do now is just jump off the computer and just do a quick little outro. Okay, so that's, I guess that was an article for all you anti-pumpers out there. I'm not saying that I like the pumpers and the pumper channels and things like that, but there have been a lot of people talking recently about the influx of kind of, that pumping content, and this was definitely a step back from that, not talking about silver going to the moon and silver going to 100. This one was a little bit more of a realistic look at the silver markets and things like that, and even if you don't 100% agree with everything that he's saying, the article did make some pretty interesting points there, and yeah, it's definitely, this was not a pumping article to say the least. But let me know in the comments what you think about your silver stack and how you have been using it. I've previously said I have been using it as a hedge against inflation, as a physical savings account, and any profit I make on it from spot price moving and getting out of the red with the premiums, that will be a bonus. But it's not the primary thing that I'm looking at getting out of silver. But it could be different for some other people. If you're looking at flipping, collecting, you might be looking at making more of a profit off of your silver than I am. But like I said before, it's basically the hedge and the savings account for me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know in the comments what you think about this lighting and this framing setup here. I am trying some more stuff with lights and different camera angles, so if you like this one, let me know. If you didn't like it, also let me know, because I am just trying out different things. But like I said, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back for the next one. Thank you.